If you're thinking about investing in SEO, you've probably got one question above everything else. How long is this actually going to take? 3 months? 6 months? A year? Ask 10 SEO agencies the same question and you'll probably get 10 separate answers. Usually some sort of variation of "it depends." SEO's most famous catchphrase. But I wanted a better answer than that. So I went back through 233 campaigns of our own that we've worked on over the past 10 years, and we've analysed how long it took to actually get them on page 1 of Google for transactional keywords. Not branded keywords, not random blog posts, not informational phrases. I'm talking about the searches that actually generate customers and conversions. And some of the results genuinely surprised me. So today I'm going to show you exactly what we found, why the old SEO takes 6 to 12 months rule isn't particularly useful, and what you should realistically expect if you're investing in local SEO yourself. Welcome to the Local SEO Podcast, the show where we break down exactly what's working in local SEO right now and how you can use it to generate more inquiries in your own business. My name's Josh. I'm the founder of ImproveMySearchRanking.com, a specialist SEO agency based in South London and 3-time winner of the UK Search Awards. We've worked with well over 1,000 businesses over the past 10 years, generating in excess of £200 million in sales for our customers. And today I'm answering probably the most common question I've been asked during those years, which is how long does SEO actually take? And for once, I'm not going to answer "it depends" because we've got the data here for you instead. So as I wanted to answer this question properly, I went back through the weekly ranking data for over 200 campaigns, 233 to be precise. And we have looked at businesses from a range of different types. So we have roofers, electricians, skip hire companies, clinics, professional service businesses, e-commerce, SaaS businesses, and plenty of other kind of local service-based businesses as well. Some of these campaigns had over a decade of historical ranking data. Some of them obviously a lot less. But importantly, we didn't measure random keywords. We only looked at the kind of transactional phrases, which I mentioned in the intro. So something like how to clean a carpet, for example, is not a transactional keyword, or how to remove a wine stain from my carpet. Again, that is not a transactional keyword. Instead, we were looking at high converting, high intent, end of the buying cycle keywords. For example, carpet cleaner, Mayfair carpet cleaner, Chelsea carpet cleaner, Fulham. And again, another example of not what we're tracking here is an informational phrase like how does a heat pump work, but instead air source heat pump installer, Maidstone, or near me, or of course, wherever the location is the target business was looking to pursue. So we're looking at search terms that have genuine commercial intent. And there's 3 milestones that we looked at during our review of the data. So first and foremost, how long does it take to get the first transactional keyword ranking on page 1 of Google? Secondly, how long does it take to get 10 to 19 transactional keywords ranking on page 1 of Google? And finally, how long does it take to get 20 or more transactional keywords on page 1 of Google? And here are the results. So we'll start off with the headline numbers. For the typical campaign, the median time it took to get the first transactional keyword ranking on page 1 of Google was just 1 month. To reach 10 to 19 keywords, transactional keywords, ranking on page 1 of Google, the median was 2 months. And to reach 20 or more page 1 transactional keywords took 4 months. Now that is the median average. So the mean average was slightly higher. So the median, page 1, one transactional keyword on page 1 in 1 month, 10 to 19, 2 months, and 20 or more took 4 months. That was the median, but the mean average was slightly higher. So the first page was 1.3 months, 10 to 19 was 3.5 months, and 20 plus was 6.1 months. And why is there a difference between the median and the mean? Obviously, there are different ways of calculating averages if you think back to your GCSE maths days, but why is there a difference? So because, of course, there's always a handful of campaigns that take significantly longer or don't work as well and pull the averages upwards. So I think the median data is more useful here because it tells us what the typical campaign experienced rather than those outliers. And so a typical campaign started seeing page one visibility much earlier than the old SEO takes 6 to 12 months kind of line suggests that you probably have heard in the past. So does that mean that SEO works in just 1 month? Absolutely not. That's not what I'm saying. There's, of course, a massive difference between getting one keyword onto page one of Google and building a strong enough visibility to consistently generate new business. Our data suggests that 96% of campaigns achieved one transactional keyword within 1 month. A typical campaign did that, as I said, in 1 month. And that's something that is, of course, achievable, but it's generally those transactional keywords that were reached in the first month tended to be easier keywords in terms of their difficulty. So maybe the phrase a longer tail, but transactional keyword like emergency plumber, West Wickham, rather than plumber in London. Or so London, of course, is a much more competitive area compared to a small area in Greater London, for example, West Wickham, which I mentioned there. Emergency plumber makes the keyword phrase a bit longer, a bit great intent still, but better probably than just plumber on its own. But adding more words to a keyword phrase, generally speaking, makes it easier to rank for as well. So, those small wins you get in the first month are going to be for easier keywords, but they still matter a lot. They can start generating phone calls, start generating leads for your business, but it's not going to transform your business by having one keyword on page one of Google. So the point where things get a bit more interesting is the next milestone, which was 10 to 19 keywords, transactional keywords on page one of Google. And the median campaign reached that in just 2 months. That's where you might have multiple services appearing across your main town and surrounding locations. And that's when SEO can become a meaningful source of inquiries for your business. So next we have the kind of 4-month tipping point. And this is probably the most important finding. This is where you have 20 plus transactional keywords on page one of Google. The median campaign got there in 4 months. And for a local business, having 20 transactional keywords can represent a seriously, good visibility. And for example, if you're a roofing company, you might in month 1 start ranking for roof repair company, Chelsea. Then month 2, you might be having a few other variations, roofer, emergency roofer in Chelsea. And then come month 4, once we've built up in month 3 as well with the work done there, you might be ranking for those same keywords, so roofer, roof repairs, emergency roof, and variations of that in one area, but then also in various other areas nearby. And that's, so for example, with Chelsea, that could be Fulham, Kensington, Mayfair, etc., etc. So this means that Google is now not going to just be sending you the occasional visitor, but you potentially built up a really great acquisition channel for your business with SEO. And as you've probably heard in the past, SEO works like compound interest, and this is where month 4-ish is where you really start seeing the benefits of that compounding. So one question to consider is, why do some businesses rank faster than others? And that's where we have to address that common SEO phrase, it depends, again, because unfortunately, of course, it does depend to some degree how fast one website ranks over another. And there are kind of 4 main factors that kind of stood out in the data, and they're fairly self-explanatory as well. So first and foremost is your starting point. If you're an established business, if you have an existing website that's been around for a while, you've probably built up some authority, some domain authority, you've had backlinks, you probably have some content already online. You also, your starting point, you could have a nicely built, nicely designed website with well-optimized content or well-written content, and that's going to help you rank faster as well. So if you're an established business, SEO generally can work a lot faster compared to a brand new business. Secondly, competition levels. Of course, trying to rank for a keyword phrase such as oven cleaner in a small location versus personal injury solicitor London. Those are 2 completely different challenges, with the latter being a lot more competitive. There's going to be a lot more money involved, a lot of people spending a lot of money on SEO and other marketing to go after that latter term, whereas oven cleaner Barnsley or some other town where there's less competition, it's going to be a lot easier to pursue. So 2 reasons so far why some websites rank faster than others. Firstly, the starting point of the website. Secondly, the competition. Thirdly, we have how ambitious your keyword strategy is. See, you can't expect 50 page 1 rankings if you're only targeting 10 keywords. Of course, that's obvious, but it's important to note businesses with broader services and larger ability to serve different locations have more opportunities to build keywords. So if you're a local service business, you could probably travel for many miles and target many, many keywords for each and every single service and location combination you wish to pursue, and that will add up to be a lot of keywords. Whereas if you're restricted to a location, or there's not much nearby you in terms of other towns that people will travel to you, then there might be a lot less potential keywords to pursue, and obviously that's going to impact how quickly you can get 20 keywords ranking or not. Fourth, and probably most importantly, is consistency. The single biggest predictor of not reaching one of the milestones we mentioned, 1 keyword, 10 keywords, 20 plus keywords on page 1 for transactional keywords, was the SEO campaign stopping before month 6. And that's an important lesson for SEO, and it's something you probably heard before, but SEO compounds. You improve a page, you build links, Google crawls it, rankings improve. You strengthen internal links, you add another location page, you get more reviews, you test and measure different on-page SEO factors, revise content, another page starts ranking, then another. It's a continuous compounding type of marketing. So stopping after a few months can mean stopping right when the compounding effect is beginning. And of course, that is not good for your business. So the finding that surprised me most from this data was one that I wasn't expecting, of course, because it was surprising. But it was simply put that local campaigns, well, I assumed that local campaigns would reach those 3 milestones faster than national campaigns. That seems very logical. Local keywords should have less competition. But at the 20 plus keyword level, the data showed something different. National campaigns that achieved 20 plus page 1 rankings did so in an average of around 3.8 months. And for local campaigns, it was more like 6 months. So that doesn't mean, of course, that national SEO is easier. There's some survivorship bias in those numbers, and actually to get 1 to 10 keywords on page 1 of Google was quicker for local SEO, but 20 plus was more so for national campaigns. Hard national campaigns could have also, so that's an interesting way of thinking about it. And also, local SEO often works differently to national SEO. With national SEO, once you've optimized a page and there's lots of variations of those terms, after one reaches page 1, a lot of them will follow suit. Whereas with local SEO, if you don't have separate location pages for each area you wish to pursue, then you can't suddenly go from 0 to 20 keywords as quickly in that way. So if you're a local business, you need to have a separate page for each location, and that takes a bit more time to build up and index and optimize for. So what should you expect from your own SEO agency? Let's have a think about how we can turn this data into something practical for you to use yourself. So if you're paying someone for SEO right now, what should you expect? Based on this data from these 233 campaigns, I would think about it like this. So month 1 to 3, you should start seeing some transactional keywords reaching page 1. Not necessarily the hardest terms, but there should be some movement. If you've reached month 3 and nothing is moving at all, you should start asking questions. From month 2 to month 4, this is where I'd want to see the campaign moving towards double-digit page 1 transactional keywords on page 1. And at this stage, you should ideally begin seeing a little bit of inquiries trickling through and can be attributed to your organic search performance. Months 4 to 8, this is where I'd expect a broader coverage of keywords on page 1 of Google, multiple services, multiple locations, more competitive terms. And this is the moment where SEO can become a significant acquisition channel for your local business. So that doesn't mean everything should suddenly stop at month 8. Quite the opposite. A good local SEO campaign should continuously build from there. And as we mentioned previous in this conversation, we shouldn't have to wait 12 months before seeing evidence that the strategy is working. Really, month on month, we should be seeing those keywords move up in the right direction. So if you were 100th place in month 1, you want to see reports each month showcasing that growth month after month. A few things to be skeptical of. So SEO claims, a lot of SEO, there's a lot of bad actors in SEO. You could say it's quite difficult for a business owner to understand exactly what their SEO agency is doing. A lot of it's done behind the scenes in the code, backlinks. It's not very tangible the way most people do this. So there's often a lot of claims in SEO to be skeptical of. And in relation to the topic of this subject matter, about keywords ranking on page 1 of Google, there's two ends of the extremes, two extremes to be considering. So firstly, one claim to be skeptical of would be, we'll get all of your keywords in first position within a few weeks. Of course, this is too good to be true. Nobody can control Google. You can't reasonably guarantee when a particular set of keywords will reach a particular position. But I'll also question the opposite extreme too. Someone saying SEO will take at least 12 months or more before you see anything. Our data doesn't support that this is a good statement at all. For the typical campaign that we analysed, one transactional keyword should be achievable within a month, 10 within 2 months, 20 plus within 4 months. So the evidence that SEO strategy taking 12 months or more doesn't make sense. Also, having hundreds of keywords ranking in the first position in a few weeks also doesn't make sense. So you need to be skeptical of those statements, and you need to talk to your SEO professional and get a good understanding of what they predict will happen in the first 3 months, 6 months, 12 months. And you need to see reporting showcasing growth in your organic traffic, in your organic keyword performance, and your organic conversions. So the biggest takeaway from this is simply SEO doesn't suddenly start working after 6 months. It builds. You might get your first win after 1 month, then several more in month 2. Then you start expanding across services and locations, and eventually those individual rankings combine into something much more valuable, a predictable source of inquiries. That's why I wouldn't judge SEO purely on asking, am I number 1 for my biggest keyword yet? Instead, you need to be asking, how many transactional keywords are moving up? How many have got to page 1? Is our overall visibility increasing? Are we appearing across more services and more locations? And most importantly, are we generating more qualified inquiries via organic traffic? That is ultimately what SEO is here to achieve, and that's what you need to understand is happening for your business. So, how long does SEO take? Based on the campaigns we analyze, you should see your first transactional keyword ranking within 30 days. Meaningful coverage can start developing 2 to 4 months, and broader page 1 visibility commonly develops around months 4 to 8. Your results will obviously vary depending on your market, your website, your competition, and the strategy that your SEO agency is implementing, but SEO doesn't need to take 12 months before anything happens. I'll put a link to the full study in the episode description below if you'd like to take a look through the methodology and the data yourself. And if you've enjoyed today's episode, please do subscribe. Thank you very much for listening, and I'll see you soon.